Hey guys, welcome back. So now we're jumping back into Avengers Forever, Volume 2. And in this one, it's gonna get pretty crazy. But also, this whole series is kinda crazy, so there's that. But nonetheless, it's still fun. So we gotta talk about it. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top, so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so at this point when we jump back in, Earth 818 Tony Stark has made his way into the Black Skull's fortress to save this mysterious Ghost Rider he had seen from afar, only to find out that Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, doesn't want to be saved, which at this point throws a monkey wrench in his whole entire plan. Because Tony and his entire team unanimously agreed on coming together to get the Ghost Rider out of there, with Vision saying that it's only logical that they do something, while their Moon Knight, Mariama Spectre, didn't see the idea so much as logical, but even still she expressed that she had a gut feeling that they should save him. And as for their Wonder Man, who still managed to be a movie star in this world, go figure, but he also agreed, even though it's only because he just wants a piece of the gory action. And as for Ben Grimm, the Infinity thing, he's a man of few words, with this whole ordeal and the connection to Infinity's End, but nonetheless with him saying the door's opening, it is time, he also agrees that saving the Ghost Rider is what they all need to come together and do. But at this time, with Tony making his way in and the rest of the team waiting outside for his word, Robbie just tells Tony that he's not leaving because his work isn't finished. In the deathlock, he also co-signs with Robbie, telling Tony that the Ghost Rider's not running from his destiny. And I mean, of course, for Tony, none of this is making sense, because it really just sounds like Robbie's just waiting to get his other foot cut off, talking about he ain't done here. But with the way that this is done, the Deathlock tells Tony that they're staying because this is who they are, which then causes him to ask Tony who he is, whether it's Ant or Avenger. And right away when Tony hears the word Avenger, he's like, nah, that's not his thing, that's not what his team agreed to. Because they're really just trying to do the Ghost Rider a solid with getting the Ghost Rider out of here so he can do the avenging. But then it's here where Moon Knight radios out to Tony, so now he's filling her in on the whole Ghost Rider don't want to be saved update. And Tony also lets her know, like, it freaks him out a bit that the two of these guys just trusted him when he showed up, with him only saying at the time, hi, I'm Tony Stark. And I mean, it makes sense since Tony doesn't really know where exactly Robbie came from and why he's here. But then while Tony's on the comms with Moon Knight, he asks Robbie to go ahead and just break down his plan since he doesn't want to be saved, so Tony can go ahead and fill in the others. And Tony tells Robbie to be quick about it, because at any moment, and as soon as Tony says that, symbiote material starts coming down from the ceiling. Cause now the Black Skull knows what's going on and he ain't having it. And when this happens, just outside, Mariama and the others hear the screaming over the comms as they see a ton of war machines take to the sky. And this all lets them know that Tony needs saving as well. And speaking of saving, I want to take a minute to tell you guys how you can save a bunch by using this video's sponsor, HelloFresh. Because if you're looking for an easy way to eat well and save money, you can cut back on your expensive takeout and delivery by getting started with HelloFresh. Because HelloFresh offers over 35 weekly recipes that are crafted and curated by chefs to give you a wide range of options in case you want to watch your calories or go easy on the carbs. And regardless of where your goal may be, they help with giving options to customize your meals by swapping proteins or sides, or even adding proteins to meet your goals. But on the other hand, if you like to stock up on snacks, sides, or desserts, then you can do that as well at the HelloFresh Market by simply adding them to your weekly order, and they'll arrive at your doorstep with your meals. But now, after seeing all of this great food, I'm sure you're only thinking one thing. Cause the food looks great and all, but you're probably thinking, Dope Spill, can you do something for me? And in response to that, I'll tell you what, you can head over to HelloFresh.com and use code DOPESPILL21 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. And skip the fast food and takeout spots, cause that stuff costs a lot. So remember, head over to HelloFresh.com and use code DOPESPILL21 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. And special thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. But at this point, with Tony's team realizing that he's been compromised on the inside, they know they gotta get in there and help him out, but there's just one small problem. And that small problem happens to be that Tony had shrunk down his team in order to get them this close, and the Stark particles aren't gonna wear off for about a half hour. But even with this being the case, Wonder Man tells the others to go ahead and go inside, get Stark and the Ghost Rider, and he'll take care of the war machines. But initially when he says this, Moon Knight tells him that he should probably wait till he's up to his regular size. But instead, Wonder Man goes in anyway, and he takes down a ton of these war machines just fine. And it's from here where the rest of the team splits up, with Moon Knight and Vision going inside, while Infinity Thing stays outside and helps with the war machines. But while we're on the topic of Infinity Thing, the Ben Grimm of Earth 818. On one hand, you might think, well, he's Infinity Thing. Why doesn't he just end all of this? And I mean, if that crossed your mind, I don't blame you, because that was my first impression as well. But then with the way that Earth 818 Ben Grimm's origin is explained, with him becoming an astronaut and searching into the stars for something to save his world, which is what led him into the incident that turned him into the Infinity Thing. But with this happening and him coming back without the personality of your conventional Ben Grimm, it almost seems as if his abundance of knowledge, which reaches through time and space and all the way to infinity's end, it's more or less giving him a godlike mindset, where he's looking at the larger scope and doing what he believes to be necessary in the now, but ultimately to protect the Avengers Tower at infinity's end. So in the meantime, in between time, he's really just doing what he believes needs to be done. But just after this, we go back inside with Robbie and the others, where we find the Black Skull letting Robbie know that he was smart for not trying to escape, because after all, this world now belongs to the Black Skull. So if Robbie did run, there's nowhere on this planet that he could actually go to really get away. Which makes sense, because I mean, it's true. But also with the Black Skull crashing into this cell with the three of these guys here, this happens to give Tony a bit of PTSD, and for him, as a knee-jerk response, he shrinks smaller and smaller until he's floating between atoms, which unfortunately takes him out of communication with Moon Knight and the others. But this causes her and Vision to do a bit of snooping around the place, with the two of them still shrunken down, which is really only helpful to Moon Knight, with it allowing her to squeeze through smaller places, while on the other hand, Vision, he can just go through walls. But eventually this takes them to a room where they find that the Black Skull has multiple doorways that the Black Skull has created that are accessing a rupture in the membrane of reality. And at a first look, Moon Knight, she's not really sure what this means, but her first guess is that they probably gotta blow it up. And it's right then where the Stark particles wear off, with them being in a room full of war machines, which gives them no other choice but to engage. But then it's also here we jump back over to Robbie's cell, where we find that the Black Skull has not only just gone back into interrogation mode, but he's also gone overboard to the point where he has to scale himself back a little bit. And with him doing this, he finally asks Robbie Reyes the burning question that he really wants to know. And that question just happens to be, who is the Avenger Prime? And for anyone who's kind of new to the story, that's a question that goes back to our talks on Avengers, the Death Hunters, and really all the way back to Free Comic Book Day in 2021. And as we continue our talks, we'll make our way back to that, because as of now it has been revealed, so careful for spoilers in the comments, but we'll make our way to that conversation in the coming weeks. But it's as soon as the Black Skull asks Robbie Reyes this question when Tony Stark comes back, giving the Black Skull the biggest punch in the history of this planet, which again is Earth 818, because on Earth 616 there's been some big punches out there. But nonetheless, with Tony going this big, he can't hold it for long, like he's about to pass out. So for that reason, he tells the writer, like whatever you're gonna do it now. Do it quick. But then without warning, the Black Skull breaks free from Tony's hand, while also sending multiple spikes all over the place. But also when this happens, we come to find out that in the last issue, when the Deathlock was trying to help Robbie out, in between Robbie's torture sessions, after Robbie's last session, when the Deathlock had thought that the Black Skull had broken Robbie, this caused the Deathlock to remotely wire himself to Robbie's nervous system, which from that moment forward caused the Deathlock to feel the agony that the Black Skull was dishing out, so that Robbie could have his mind completely clear to focus on vengeance. And it's here where Robbie tells the Black Skull a bit of information that he didn't know about his own symbiote, because the Black Skull believes that his symbiote is like a weapon or a sword that he can just wield however he wishes. But truth be told, the symbiote's more like a passenger that uses the Red Skull as a vehicle. And it's here where Robbie tells him that he is the All-Rider, which means that he can drive anything. And with saying this, it's here where Robbie calls for his car, and he chains the Black Skull to the back of it, causing the sweet smell of hope, which is actually the Black Skull's skin being dragged off his body. But with Robbie driving out with a regular sized Tony Stark riding shotgun, we then see Wonder Man and Infinity Thing, who had returned back to their regular size around the same time as Moon Knight and Vision. But at this point, they're still outside wrecking these war machines like it's nothing. But then also, as Tony and Robbie make their way out from the fortress, Moon Knight reaches out to Tony on the comms, and she more or less overhears him talking about he's about to throw up. But also when he's done, he wants to drive Ghost Rider's Charger. But when hearing this, Moon Knight cuts in and she tells Tony that it ain't over. Because back inside with her and Vision, these 6 doors accessing different universes begin to go active. But before Mariama can get Vision to close the doors and shut this thing down, each of these doors let in a Red Skull from an alternate universe. And the first one who enters says, "Are these the ones who caused you to fall, brother? We shall have red revenge in your name." For if one skull falls, 1,000 more shall take its place. So now with these guys getting here, they're in a race to take down whoever defeated the Black Skull, because by order of the Masters of Evil, whichever one of these guys is first to defeat the usurper, I used air quotes, that variant will then inherit this world. So now on Earth 818, there's a race for the new Waste Lord. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.